Welcome again to another episode of Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. I am your host, Lionel McDonald. So, on this episode, we are blessed with a special guest. Um, Many of you know him as Big Mike. Mike, well, welcome to the pod.
Thank you for having me. Honored to
Yeah, it
be
was good
one of
that
your
we were able
guests.
to connect through some mutual friends, and
Yep,
we're both Toronto guys, so
I know. I saw that.
um, and I don't know if we've ever crossed paths.
I'm sure we probably
I'm
crossed
I'm
paths at
sure
some
we
point.
have at some point in the streets. But yeah, really wanted to bring you on as we kind of started
For sure.
chatting about a few things, and we'll kind of get into the main topic in a second. But
Absolutely.
maybe you can give us a quick intro, just a little bit about you and your sneaker collection and why you love sneakers.
Sure. So I'm Michael Neblett, aka Big Mike. So I'm on IG. Fitteds Kicks and Travel is my handle, but kind of what got me into sneakers essentially. I've been into sneakers since I was like 13, to be honest with you. I've been like, but I obviously, like most kids growing up, you couldn't buy all the Jordans or whatever. So, my mom was not buying me none of that stuff. So at all. Like, she was not like my first ever Nike she bought me was like the Nike Air Up Tempos, the Pippins, the Scotty Pippins with the air on the side, the black and white
Hmm.
ones. That was, and she only bought me those because they were $60 in New York. So she was not buying me none of that. So I would say my love for Jordans came, like, I've always been in love with Jordans, but I started buying them exclusively in like 2015. Like, my first pair was the Bordeaux Sevens. I bought those in Chicago because it was a pain in the ass to get them here. It was a
Funny you
nightmare
say
getting them.
that. I bought that shoe in Chicago. Like
Right?
that would have been 2015
Yep, 2015.
before Toronto's All-Star game in 2016.
So I bought mine in October. I was in
Yeah.
Chicago in October because I know they came out in July because me and my friend went to Eaton Center. For people who are in Toronto, they know, like, Eaton Center. We went to the Foot Locker and she camped out for hers, but I couldn't because I worked overnights the Saturday, so I couldn't camp
Right.
out. So I had missed out and they were sitting on shelves for a bit. And then, like, a girl I was seeing at the time, she was going to buy me a pair, but then they had sold out here. So then I
Hmm.
ended up going to Chicago. I was like, the first thing I did is like, okay, I'm gonna go down Chicago. I was in the like on the Magnificent Mile. I went to like four different shoe stores. None of them had them. I was pissed. So I went to Finish Line and I ended up buying the three-peat eights, the eights. So I bought those because those came out the same weekend. So I was like, you know what? I'll say, you know what, I'm gonna buy a Jordan. I'm in Chicago. I'll at least say I bought a Jordan. And then actually the salesperson was like, hey man, I hear that you're in the sneakers. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yo, you should check out the Jordan store. They just opened up last weekend on State
Yeah.
Street. So I'm like, okay, bet. So when I got up early, got up at like 9 o'clock, lined up, and then I went and then I was looking around the store. They had like the pinnacle ones. They had a bunch of dope stuff there. And then I saw the Bordeaux sevens. I'm like, oh. And I was like, yo, dude, please tell me you have these in size 13. And he's like, yeah, bro. And I was like, yes. And I was hyped. So that was like my first like OG colorway of Jordans.
Okay.
And then what kind of started my collecting was when I got the white cement fours that came out in 2016, which were like a pain to get. I ended up getting them off Flight Club.
Yeah.
And then for me, the goal for me when it came to my collection was more to get the Jordans that I like that Michael Jordan played in. Because, like, for me, I'm old and I'm 40, so I grew up watching Michael Jordan play. So I remember I watched the flu game on TV. I watched the immaculate, the spectacular move with
Oh, the
the
change of
layup,
hands,
the
the
change of hand
championship
layup.
one against the Lakers.
I watched
Yeah.
the shrug game, like when I was in my basement. You know what I'm saying? I watched them
Yeah.
wear the Raptor sevens, like, and I watched them, wear the playoff 13s. I watched the last shot game. Me and my stepbrother and my dad. So for me, it was more about getting stuff that, like, I remember watching. So it's not like I'm just in the sneakers just because, like, for me, like, the bread fours are imprinted in my mind because I used to watch NBA Inside Stuff. And when
Yeah.
they would show the top 10, they would show him in the Chicago with Craig Elo with that Nike, with the bread fours and the Nike Air on the back. So I've
Yeah.
always, when those shoes, when they were announced, I'm like, I am getting that shoe come hell or high water.
Yeah.
So that's kind of really what kind of got me going. And, like, for the most part, like, my collections, it's grown a lot. Like, I feel like next year I'll be able to kind of solidify it a little bit more and kind of wrap it up a little bit because I've gotten most of what I wanted so far. There's still a few on my list, but yeah, that's kind of what really kind of started my passion and stuff. Like, but I also wear like Nike. I wear like Air Maxes. I wear a lot of Nike. I make a lot of Nike IDs.
Yeah.
I have like Reeboks. I have like Answer Fours. So I love like just sneakers in general, but
Yeah.
large portion of my collection is Jordans. So,
Do you have a favorite model of Jordan?
so the Bordeaux 7 is my favorite Jordan of all time.
Okay.
I
And
used
is
to
that
love.
because it was your first one?
Yes, and also because like I just think the sevens are underrated. Like everyone, if you, I guarantee you do like 10 of these interviews, people are gonna say the threes, the fours, or the 11s, right? But I've
Yeah.
always loved the seven because the seven's so underrated. It's very comfortable, and I think the uniqueness of it. And I also like compared to like other Jordans, they look kind of like this outlier. It's almost like the ugly stepsister or whatever
Yeah.
the other Jordans because it's so different. So, but right now, honestly, I've been on this like Jordan 3 kick. Like I've been on Jordan
Okay.
3s like hard. I used to be a 13. I'm a 13s guy. I love 13s, but right now, threes are like my model right now. I
Okay.
bought like the past three Jordan threes that came out. I bought the glow threes, I bought the cement gray threes, and I bought the red threes, which I got. I'll just show y'all right here so people know
Yeah.
I'm not playing around. And I got
Yeah.
the ones that came out
If you
Saturday.
didn't, and I just did an episode on that, so it's a must cop if you didn't get it.
Listen,
And
man.
I think
Listen, I'll show y'all the 2018 pairs so you know I ain't playing. So I got the both
yeah.
pairs. So I got the
Yeah.
2018 pair right here.
Yeah. 2018. I think the first one I bought was 2001. Like I have that one.
Right.
It's a little
Oh
crumbly
wow.
right now, but
So
yeah,
out
that
of
one,
so out
and
of the
then
yeah, so I was gonna
Countdown
ask you.
Pack are the ones
Oh,
that
Countdown
I
Pack,
walk
yeah.
on a regular.
So out of the two pairs, like the 2018 and 2024, which one do you prefer?
Um, so between the last two, I think it's a kind of a toss up because
Mm,
it's the leather is better. Or I like that. I'm a tumble leather fan. So the
same.
tumble leather is on the 2018.
18, yeah.
Now, if you look at enough pairs, if you can see enough pairs, there are some that are
Tumbled.
tumble.
Mine isn't actually.
Yeah, there's but that's the thing with the 2024 pair, they're supposed to be smooth. And then you'll also notice that the elephant print, the cut of it is lower than on the 2018.
Which is
That
yeah,
is to replicate what was the
in the
original one from
original.
88.
Exactly.
Because
And that's
they
what I
made
realized. Yeah.
they made the 2018 one. That was the first one with Nike Air since
Yeah.
2001,
One
but the cut was higher and it was to make it look premium. It
off.
was almost like a reimagined one to a
Yeah.
certain extent. This one is like the closest one they believe they've made to the
Yeah,
original.
because
So
even because people were complaining about that, oh, like the elephant print is low, but I'm like, you're not
yeah,
watching because if you watch Michael Jordan the All Star, where he wore them in the All Star game, to your point, they were lower. The elephant print
yeah,
was lower, and it was
yeah,
not that dark ass elephant print that it is on the
yeah.
2018.
Like yeah, 20, and I don't care. Like I don't
Neither do
I think if
I.
you're just wearing it on the street, probably the 2018 pair is the better one because the elephant print
Stands
is
out.
darker and it's gonna show less dirt. But conversely, if you're an OG head like both of you
Yeah,
and I are, then the twenty
yeah.
fourteen is
2024
probably
pair I
the
prefer.
closest
Yeah,
one
yeah.
to the 88 original. So
Yeah, and I like the way they've done. The reason why I'm probably getting more into threes now is I like that how they've done the threes now in terms of the lower elephant print. Because for me, I'm an OG head, so I prefer it looking as true to OG as possible. So that's
yeah,
now that they fixed the toe box. Like I bought the UNC threes in 2020, and they had fixed it from then, and
yeah,
then everyone thinks since then. Like I then so that's kind of why I'm in the threes right now. So
got it. Okay, okay. So if we, you kind of mentioned the seven, and it's interesting that you say that's your seven, like because I think one of the most underrated sevens, and I think they of the entire Jordan collection,
mm-hmm.
it may be the most underrated one because we're the hair seven,
Yep.
the playoff seven,
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, and my personal favorite of all the sevens is the chambray seven. I call it the chambrizzle. Like I love that shoe, and not even the one that they
Yeah.
recently put out the last 5 or 6 years. Probably,
Mm-hmm.
I think there was one that came out in the middle of COVID. I'm talking about the one that was like, oh, I don't know. It was like I'm trying to think where I was in life. Probably like 2006, 2007.
What's the
Two,
color? What's the colors on it again?
so it's like it's almost like a light blue turquoise-ish.
Oh, okay. I know
So
which
it's
one you're
like
talking
all
about now.
black.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah.
You know
Those.
how we get down in Toronto. Toronto man shoes love
Yeah,
black
they
shoes.
black
So
and blue. I am a black shoe guy. I've always been a black and
yeah,
white. You give me a black and white shoe, I'm in heaven. So, but no,
yeah,
those shoes are dope. And Yeah, those are definitely dope. I remember those. They haven't re-retroed those yet, actually, though. They need to re-retro
Yeah,
those.
we're due for another one, but it probably be, just based on timing, there's going to be a lot of other shoes that will come before
I
that.
mean,
I think we'd love to see the Hair 7 come out again,
again, yeah, I have the Hair
because
Sevens,
that's
but I would love another
one
pair.
that
Yeah.
people. And then I know like around that time, 2006, 7, they
Mm.
did the Raptor 7, like the Raptor 7 that was
Yeah.
all black with the black and purple,
Yeah.
not any gray in it. People would
Yeah. The
love
one
to
that I
have
have, yeah,
that
I have
one
these
again.
ones.
Again,
Yeah, I have
Toronto
these
mans
ones.
want that one
Yeah,
again.
I got these
So
ones. Yeah, these are the ones that you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah,
I got these in 2017, but I would
yeah,
definitely want another pair for sure. I'd probably get
yeah,
another pair of these if they
yeah.
re-retro them.
In due time, definitely be by the time we roll around to 2027, we'll have that one again. So
I'd be shocked. Yeah, to your point, I'd be shocked if we didn't.
yeah.
I'd be very
And
shocked.
you did touch on specifically what 2025 is. Again, there's so many things.
Listen,
Like if you were just starting in the last 2 years, you can get a jump start and align
listen.
your collection all in 1 year because there's just way too many shoes. I went back and looked at some of the releases
Hmm.
from 2006, 2007, and then like 2008 is
Yeah,
an interesting year because you got the countdown pack and
right.
you got the 23, and then I think there were a Spizike. That was it. That's
So it's
all
like,
you
yeah,
got. Now
yeah.
there's like a launch every weekend.
I mean,
Sometimes
now,
there's
like, I
two.
mean, if you look at like 2016 was probably the last time, like, it's gonna like how 20 next year is gonna be. That was like 2016 is the last year I remember was like
Yeah,
that, where they were just releasing constant
yeah,
heat. Like next year, like I said this to a friend, like, listen, if you're somebody who's on the fence about getting into Jordans, or you like you to your point, you want to jumpstart a collection, next year, I mean, shoot, you can get like heat. You get like, I mean, there's was the grape fives are coming out, the red toe or the red tongue fives are coming out, and the metallic fives are coming out,
yeah,
and the flu games are coming out, and the taxes are coming out,
yeah.
and the white Smith fours are coming out.
Keep going, keep
You know what I'm
going.
saying?
Rare Air
And
Four, and then the one that everyone wants is the 85 bread Jordan
yeah,
1,
I'm not even
and
gonna
then
try for
Shattered
those.
Backboard is
The
is
shadow
is
backboards,
supposed to be
exactly.
on the in the lineup too.
Yeah,
So
the rare air threes and fours are coming out, and the Weitzman fours are coming out.
yeah, so
Like,
it
and
is
the taxi 12s, all that. It's gonna be nuts.
about to
Like,
be crazy for those. Like, fortunately, I have literally all of those. So I'm not buying
so
a
next year
damn
for
thing.
me, yeah, I'm buying like I know I'm getting the play was it the Bugs Bunny eights, I'm getting the Taxi
Yeah.
12s, I'm getting the Great Fives, but I don't have none. Those are the main three I'm getting, and then
Okay.
I'm getting
Yeah.
the few, I'm gonna try to get the rare air threes and fours because
Yeah.
I do like the rare threes and fours for sure. And the
Yeah.
white cement fours because my pair is busted.
Okay.
And I love that
Okay.
shoe.
Because
So
again, there is so many pairs that are coming out.
yeah.
And if you're not an OG, like you didn't buy those in the last go round, you can fill in all the gaps. But
Yeah.
there's just like no one man can buy everything that they're releasing. It is
No.
absolutely like an overload. But I guess the question when you start looking at even like we had some really good launches in November
Yeah.
from obviously you just showed the Black Cement 3. We
Mm-hmm.
had the Olive 9. We
Yep.
had the Black Toe 14. So there's been a lot of good shoes that have released
Mm-hmm.
and people have been on them, but the reality is how many months can they do this in a row that there's not much coming out in December other than Legend Blue
The
11s, and
yeah,
that
that
was that was
I'm
not
getting
out
those,
that
yeah.
was out like a few years ago.
Years ago, like
So
2015. Yeah. I mean, because here's the thing: people complained for years, "Oh, Jordan Brand's not putting out anything; it's the same old stuff." Da da da. And now they're putting out heat, and now people don't want to pay. So it's like
yeah,
Jordan Brand. I mean, they're trying their best to I guess accommodate people as much as they want, but like. But I think it's good. Like, I think it's good they're putting out all the OGs. Like, I'm glad. Like, for example, next year they're putting out the flu games. I got my pair in 2016, but that was a
yeah,
quick strike. So if you didn't get it on May 28th, 2016, you didn't get a pair
yeah.
because I got, I'm lucky I got mine at Dufferin Mall and stuff, and that was a big
Hmm.
ass line. And again, it was only 5 size 13s, and there was 5 dudes there with size 13.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I was lucky. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
those
So I
big
think,
sizes are not easy to come by.
and again, I have no choice but to camp out typically because I'm a size
Yeah,
13, so I'm screwed otherwise. Like, luckily, in some cases I don't have to, but some cases I more likely do. Like, I was gonna camp out this weekend, but luckily I didn't have to. So
All right. So, again, two Toronto guys talking about OGs. And again, this is the reality of sneakers today. It's the OGs that are really continuing to keep this thing alive.
Yeah,
A lot of the newer sneakerheads, unless you're, heart set on getting into Jordans, we know that the sneaker market, particularly in the last 2 years, has really shifted.
it has.
And there is now space in the sneaker market for all these running silhouettes. And it's just not Nike running. I would tell you Nike is not first and probably not second when we're
No,
talking about running,
no.
New Balance is definitely leading the way,
And
whether
Hoka,
it's
whatever. Hoka, I
yeah,
think. Yeah.
On and Hoka and there's just like the whole thought of comfortable shoes versus,
Uh-huh.
an iconic moment. And that was the big thing about Jordan is Jordan specifically, there was always a story tied to what happened with the shoe and why he wore it and why it was important. So
Yeah.
that is the challenge today. So we continue to adjust and obviously make space for a variety of different shoes, and people wear shoes now, different shoes for a different reason. Think back 3 years ago, everyone wanted to wear a Jordan 1. People don't want
Yeah.
Jordan 1s now.
Nah, they're sitting.
People will rather wear New Balance
Good
530 if
point.
you're a
Yeah.
woman, or you're wearing a 9060, or you're wearing like there's just so many other choices.
Yeah. Like I
Wait till
remember.
wait till
Yeah.
Saucony gets a hold of the market because they're the next one that are up next year. You're
They're up
already
and
seeing it
coming.
in the marketplace.
I
There's
see
a
it. Yeah.
couple cool collabs, and that is going to propel that brand
Even
forward.
more.
So
Yeah, because I to your point about the Jordan ones, like I remember in 2020 when the Jordan store was at Young and Dundas,
yeah,
and I had a friend that worked there, and I remember it was on my birthday we went, and I literally counted the amount of there was like 12 different Jordan variations of Jordan ones that were on shelves that they had put out. They had
yeah,
pumped out so many Jordan ones, and it was funny, like because now I find that the Jordan threes and fours are like the trendy shoe that most people will buy now. Like those shoes,
hmm
at least in Toronto, they're selling out. You put out
yeah.
any type of colorway of a Jordan 3 or 4, no, especially a 4, that is gone.
Yeah,
That is
four is the gold standard
four
now.
is the
The
gold
four is
standard
the
now.
new one. So
Whereas like 2019, I remember the was the cool gray fours sat on shelves. The what
yeah,
the fours sat on
yeah,
shelves. I would have, and I heard the what the fours had great quality, but I
they were fantastic.
I couldn't buy them because I had already bought the Bread 11s. I bought a pair of I bought the Royal ones through friggin' Stadium Goods, and I bought a pair of Air Maxes. So at that point, I was tapped out. And then I
Yeah,
booked the trip. So I'm like, yeah, I can't even I had to
yeah,
pass on those. But
yeah,
they were I heard like everyone said who bought those fours said, those what the fours people slept on them, and
yeah,
they sat for months, dude,
yeah,
like
yeah.
months.
Those that got them are very happy they got them.
Yeah,
And again, the unique thing about the quality was good, but it was just a great combination. You had the military four, you had the white cement four.
yeah,
So you had just a great combination of some of the OG ones that were all together in one shoe.
yeah,
And again, it's a what does so people forget it kept the essence of the two shoes being different. Like one heel tab is red
yeah,
and the other one is blue, but it
exactly.
was still a white shoe, so it still looked like a shoe that you could
You
wear,
could
and
still wear with
you
anything.
wouldn't draw that much attention. But when you start looking at the details, like what's going on with your shoe? You wearing
Because, for
different ones?
example, like if you look like the what the bronze or whatever, those were too funky because the colors were
Yeah,
just all over the place.
yeah,
So as cool as the concept was, that's not a shoe that you would probably generally want to wear. Whereas the what the four, to your point, because it's a white shoe, you can
yeah,
still get away with wearing it with different stuff. Like the what the Kobe, as good as that is, it's
yeah.
too loud for some
Yeah.
people.
Like you
That
might
was
as
just
well just wear that on court and call it a day.
that's
Like
it.
that's where that energy or that shoe has
That's it.
space to wear when you're making a statement. But rarely are you trying to make a statement with a shoe that is that dramatic. Like you have to have the fit to pull that off,
Otherwise, it won't
or you're
work.
just wearing on court. But the
That
what the
part.
four has legs beyond just being a statement shoe. You can slide it in and it's totally okay. And again, that's probably one of the most underrated Jordan fours that came out. It sat on shelves, and I know there's many people that I wish I got that one. I wish I kind of could have surfed through the trees and been able to see
Oh
that
yeah,
one.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, anyways, the main topic, and I appreciate Mike for being on the pod. The state of the union, as we're going to call it today, is, and this is how our whole, for everyone listening, and again, this is available on Spotify, and you can view it on YouTube when we release it. It's on Apple Music, wherever you get it, iHeartRadio, it's all there.
Hmm.
But where we are today is the state of the union on I guess our biggest resale marketplace. Now, hey, there's Facebook Marketplace, there's
Mhm.
Gold, there's eBay. Those have all existed for a period of time. But when we talk about the resale market, we have to talk about StockX. And StockX is the gold standard, or at least we thought it was the gold standard. But they have recently come out, and this has started for those, Mike and I give you some backstory. This
Yeah.
is what started the conversation between Mike and I and how we end up connecting.
Yeah.
Because this posted, I shared it, he sent it back to me. It's like, this is some of the wildest
Wow, this
stuff
shit.
I've seen.
Yeah.
So to give you some color as we're going to have a conversation about it, StockX is the biggest marketplace that you can find sneakers for buying and selling.
Mhm.
So you end up sending your shoe in, they authenticate it,
Yeah.
and then post it. Someone could buy it, they get a
Right.
percentage. It's already been authenticated, they send it out.
Mhm.
StockX has admitted that they are selling fake shoes. How in the biggest market and the biggest piece, though, again, there's eBay,
Yep.
there's Go, there's lots of other ways. But Mike, give me your opinion on this. How can StockX knowingly admit that they're selling fake shoes, but you see how they're moving? It's
They
like
don't care.
nothing has happened. They just are like, oh, sure, we sell fake shoes.
My
Promoting a
dealing,
business like nothing happened.
my brief dealings with StockX. And for context for the viewer, I'm not a fan of StockX at all. I've sold shoes off StockX, and I bought a shoe. I bought the Answer Fours, the Allen Iverson, the red toe Answer Fours by accident on that damn app. And then when I messaged them to try to see how to like the customer service to go about selling it, because I never used the app before, so I accidentally purchased a shoe, and then it took them 2.5 weeks to get back to me. So their
Wow.
customer service is garbage from my perspective.
Okay.
My thoughts on this, I mean, it's not a good look. And the thing is, for me, like I remember in 2019, the reason why I'd never messed with StockX is because I would see videos of people posting on YouTube saying that either they got fake shoes from StockX, and they would show them like the, let's say the UN, like the off-white UNC ones. They'd be showing videos of how they were getting fakes and they were spending $1,600 on those damn shoes, or they would send a shoe to StockX to review, and then apparently StockX would send the shoe back saying that it was a fake that they were sent, that StockX was being, that the consumer sent to them. So to me, their whole business model was shady from jump. So off that, I never mess with StockX. And I would tell anybody, like I remember I was downtown, I bought the infrared sixes, and a dude had seen them like, yo, oh my God, you got the infrared sixes. And I said, yeah. It's like, where did you get them? I got them on release. He's like, yo, where do you think I could get them from? I'm like, yo, you should go to like Flight Club or anybody else. He's like, oh, what about StockX? I'm like, bro, honestly, I wouldn't mess with StockX. And I told him that in 2019. So I'm not even really surprised by all this, but I think I'm surprised by the fact that they haven't done anything in terms of PR to kind of quell any of this stuff, because the challenge now is StockX. To me, the advantage that they had in 2019 was that they were the top. So most people were going through StockX. Now you got GOAT, to your point, you got Stadium Goods, you got Flight Club, you got Kicks on Fire, you got all these other sneaker outlets that people can go to. Why would I
Yeah.
go to StockX? And especially now that I know you're selling fakes. It's one thing
Yeah.
if people were like, hey, I don't care, I'll buy a fake, then that's fine. But you've prided yourself on being authentic, that you have authenticators and everything's on the up and up. And I've seen like people who do sneaker vlogs go to StockX and say, oh, everything is great here and they're legit and all this other nonsense. And look now, how is it legit when they've knowingly been
Yeah.
selling fakes? So to
Yeah.
me, it's not good.
No, it isn't good. And again, hey, Rome or Rome Saint, that their official StockX authenticator, this is the girl that you see. She's like checking the tag, smelling the
Yep.
shoe, checking the glue, all of the different things that you can do to authenticate a shoe. And like they've built a brand on saying, hey, if you're gonna buy a shoe, you're gonna buy it from us. And if you buy the shoe from us, you know that it's going to be real. They had these official StockX
Yeah.
tags that they would hang and
Mm-hmm.
send it off to you if you paid the purchase. If you didn't know, you could buy these now on eBay or so many other places and hang it on
Exactly.
a shoe and said that these shoes are real. the reality is there's several people that have bought shoes from StockX and they're fake. And StockX, obviously, there's no return policy for those that didn't know.
Nope, they
So
don't
this was
return. Yeah.
what creates the problem.
Yep.
So they've gone to Nike. Nike
Yep.
ultimately is now sued StockX. They never just like, oh, Nike's just in a bad spot and they're being petty. Well,
No.
Nike decided to buy, what was it, like 77 pairs from StockX?
Yes.
They
A
were
few
all
years
fake.
ago, they were all fake.
They were all
I
fake.
remember seeing that. Yeah.
There was a fraud ring that recently happened. 800 products that were, or 1,800 products that were bought off StockX.
Yeah.
They were all fake.
Fake. Yep.
So how do you trust a platform that is knowingly selling fakes, but they're just continuing to move their business forward like there's nothing happening? It is quite remarkable. Even that there's even a clothing ring that's now been discovered recently,
Oh,
including
real.
many other high performance brands, including Travis Scott merch. It's all
Oh,
fake.
wow.
So it is unbelievably what is happening right now. But what do you think StockX does? Like, can they clean up their act, or are they too far gone at this point?
I think, listen, I think there's enough people that go through StockX that will still go through StockX regardless of this. And they'll just say, oh, well, I never had a bad experience, so I'll still. Now, is that enough? Do they have enough of a consumer base to still maintain? We'll see. I think that will be the true test of time. But do I think new customers who have found out all this stuff we're talking about, would they want to go to StockX? I think you'd be playing Russian roulette with your money if you're going to go through StockX, knowing all this stuff going on. Because for me, like I personally wouldn't wear fakes. Like I know that there's a market of people that wear fakes and would buy fakes. They don't care. But I think for a large people that are in the sneakers, they want to make sure if they're buying a sneaker, they're getting an authentic pair. And the allure of StockX also was the idea that you can maybe get it below retail, or it's, you can maybe get a little bit of a deal on it, right? Or it's a little bit lesser than going through all the other consignment shops. But again, am I going to go and risk spending, let's say, $600 on a fake shoe? Hell no, I'm not. And most people, especially now with the economy being what it is, people are not doing that. Maybe 8, 9 years ago, maybe people would have risked that, but I don't think now, no. So can they clean up their act? I think unless like if they're taking a real serious hit in terms of their bottom line, then maybe they might do something. But until that happens, I don't see anything changing with them. I don't, because the fact that this came out and they didn't say nothing. They didn't say a statement or PR, nothing. So
yeah, it is very concerning that I forget sneaker ethics, the business ethics of StockX, that they're just rolling forward like there's nothing happening, and there is a lawsuit, and I'm sure there'll be some, they'll just do the corporate thing, and there'll be some kind of out of court settlement. Pay Nike a bunch of money. They says we'll try and clean up our act. Maybe there will be a rebranding of some sort.
Maybe,
but hey, eBay is still one of the bigger ones. If you truly want to be authenticated, then many others go to Stadium Goods or Flight Club. It gets a little dicey when you start, going to Facebook Marketplace, because
I don't know.
These guys sell you some wild things if you go down that road. Goat is actually pretty good, and I think if you're looking for a size, and I know the allure of StockX, because sometimes you can bid on a size and
you can
essentially get it below where maybe that size is being sold for. So there's many ways you can obtain a shoe, but Goat is a very reliable source of how they manage their business. So
yeah, Goat's solid. I don't mind Goat here and there.
So it's going to be really, what is the like, and I guess it paints a bigger picture. Like, are there no morals in the sneaker world? What are your thoughts on that statement?
Like when we're talking about morals, are we talking about business, or are we talking about just sneakerheads, or are we talking about all of it?
Yeah, let's take the corporate world out of it. Let's just
talk
say,
about, we could talk about it, absolutely.
Amongst the heads.
Honestly, man, like I think I think when people, because I've always heard this statement, and I want to ask you your thoughts about it, because I always hear this narrative about, oh, is sneaker culture dying? I'm like, no, sneaker culture has only died for the randos who joined like maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, just to get a quick buck, or just when they wanted to resell, right? And they were just doing, or the dudes that just joined just for clout and all this other stuff. because there's a lot of people that I think that are really like passionate sneakerheads that are not like, for me, a lot of like the clown stuff that I see, because I see a lot of clown stuff. Like there are certain people that I used to follow on IG or Facebook that I don't follow because like they would be like, if you're like shoe shaming people and judging people, oh, you're wearing Team J's, or you're posting this shoe, like you're not posting any heat and all this weird stuff. I'm like, you're weird. Like y'all are grown ass adults. It's one thing if y'all were kids. If y'all were like in your teens and 20s, okay, I'll give you a pass because you're a child. But they're grown ass adults out here bullying people for what shoes they wear. Like that's a thing that I would see on Insta. Like I'd see people commenting. I'm like, y'all are weirdos. Like I love shoes. I don't have this idea in my mind of judging someone based off what shoes they wear. Because listen, I wore Team J's. My first ever Jordan was a Jumpman Pro Quick.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't buy Jordans like that. When we were kids, if you had Jordans growing up as a kid, you grew up very nice. You should be very thankful. Because most of us didn't have that.
No,
so
we did
you're
not.
A grown, so all the people on Instagram and Facebook who shoe shame, y'all are weirdos. But to say all that, I also think it's changing of the guard where I think the old heads are in it. And I think they're the ones that we like us and stuff like that. We're being more positive and pushing it. Like even like the sneaker gods, like let's say the like Mayor or Perfect Pair, like they never did all that weird stuff that I see on Instagram, like shoe shaming and all this weird stuff. Like I just think that stuff's weird. And those people need to get out of the game. And I think I think also too, so I think it's gotten better now because again, look at what's coming out next year, like in terms of releases and stuff. And I think that's gonna keep the game going for the old heads and the new kids. You know, and I also think too, like where it got kind of lame is that a lot of these people who claim that they're sneakerheads or claim that they know sneakers, they don't really know OG anything. Like their first reference to a sneaker is, let's say, the South Beach LeBron 8s. That's like saying you're a hip hop head and your first reference of hip hop is Drake. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. You know what I'm saying?
But I don't know if I could have said that better myself.
No, because like I'll give you an example. I went to a consignment store in Yorkdale. They have the shoe out in Yorkdale Mall. And anyone in Toronto knows what I'm talking about. Because the Medicine Ball, Bo Jackson, the Air Trainers came out in like 2019, and I was trying to get them, and I missed the release. So I was trying to see if they had it at that store. I went there. I asked them, "Hey, do you guys have the Bo Jackson Air Medicine Balls?" They looked at me like I had 6 heads. They didn't know what I was talking about. I showed them a picture. They still didn't know what I was talking about. But they'll sit there and run around talking about they're experts on, they know shoes. I'm like, no, you don't, bro. Like, do your research and history of the shit. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. Like, I'm not saying you got to like the stuff, but at least know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because if your only reference is, let's say, a shoe that came out in 2009, there's shoes that came out way before that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's kind of been lost a little bit. And if we can get back to that, I think it can be better. But until then, I think of the changing of the guard will come. It just will take a lot of time to get these weird lame people out of it that just run it for a quick buck.
And again, we all know that the sneaker game and those that call themselves sneakerheads or sneaker enthusiasts, like whatever the term you want to use, we really saw a boom right before the pandemic, and then like the first 2 or 3 years, because there was a scarcity model. Like we couldn't get items, so there was essentially the law of supply and demand. Like basically, there wasn't enough supply. There was a lot of demand. So it drove up, you know, like, this is why we had, and I'll say that now, I don't care. Plus that's in Yorkdale. They're not there anymore. They had to downsize their model because that's the reality of sneakers today. They have one store in an online business. They have one store in Square One, and that's where things are. Like you're seeing many of these stores, like Safe. There's Safe is one that's in Fairview. That's the consignment store there. I would imagine in 18 months that store will not exist anymore.
No, to your point, because a lot of these consignment stores that are in Toronto, they don't, even the customer service aspect, they don't even greet you. I went to a consignment store in the Atrium. I literally went in there. They had,
I know which one you're talking
about.
There
was 3, exactly.
It's a small shoebox, and somehow you went in there and no one talked to you.
No one talked to me. I literally was standing there for 15 minutes. They were all on their damn phones. I'm like, you're a business, bro. This is I'm assuming you got a loan or some stuff like that, or saved up all your money, and you don't even greet a customer when they come in. Like, you don't like money. Y'all don't like money. And another one that, like, a lot of these consignment stores, like if you go to the States, they greet you. At least with, like, I've been to the Flight Club in New York. They'll at least greet you and stuff. Now they're moved like a conveyor belt because they got every shoe there. So they're like, okay, what you want? Okay, cool. Okay, get the metallic 5s. Okay, go to the line, get out, basically, because they got people in and out of there. But
Yeah.
I've been to other consignment stores in the States where they greet you and all that stuff. They don't do that here. Like we don't, even in Toronto, like I don't really feel like we have a sneaker culture here. Like we just bite off what America deems as hot. Because my question is this: if America, like for example, this is why I say this, because if you look at New York, their signature shoe is the Uptown Air Force Ones. Like you go to Harlem, that's what they wear. You go to DC, Maryland, Virginia, they have the foam posits. That's what they're known for. You go to LA, they got Vans, they got this. What is
Cortez.
Toronto? What sneaker is Toronto known for that we rock? We just rock whatever America deems as hot. We should have our own type of shoe that we could say.
Some people would rebut and said
Would say
the
which
Air
one
Max
shoe?
90 is the Toronto shoe.
Really?
Yeah.
The Air Max? Okay.
Yeah. That has
Okay.
been a
If that's what we're
claim
gonna. That's a
to
claim. Okay.
oh
I never heard
and
that
I would
before.
tell you this claim started maybe early 2000s. I think that's when people
Okay.
started to say, hey, the shoe that is the Toronto shoe is the Air Max
Air
90. Like
Max 90.
that shoe will never die in Toronto.
No, no.
And
I've
and it like
seen
again,
plenty of
all
people wear it.
walks of life, whether you're a
Yes.
sneaker collector, whether
Nurses.
you're a
No, I
mom
see.
getting the groceries,
I
you're
see
working on
nurses wearing them.
someone's probably got a pair of Air Max 90s at home.
I see nurses here. To your point, I see people in the
Yeah.
healthcare there. That's the usual shoe that they're rocking more than likely is
Yeah.
Air Max 90s. They're not
Yeah.
even rocking Air Max 1s. They're rocking Air Max 90s.
Air Max 90s
Which is true.
specifically. So
Yeah.
trends may come and go. People go to running silhouettes like we're on this On and Hoka and New Balance
Yes.
thing right now. You know, before that, you know, everyone wanted to wear a Jordan 1 or an Air Force 1. And, you know, we just see things circulate. And again, it's a cycle. 5 years later, Air Force 1s will be the only thing that anyone wants to rock for one reason or another. But the
Facts.
reality is in Toronto, the Air Max 1 will never die. And it's for that reason many believe that the Air Max 1 is Toronto shoe. And hey, I would tell you that does Toronto have a sneaker culture like New York or like LA? No, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit of a blend of a lot of different things versus
Yeah.
standing for one specific thing. Hey, if you go to DC, that they were New Balance 990s. Like that is
Yeah,
shoe,
New DC.
that's the
Yeah.
biggest air
Yeah, and you go to the like if you go to
area
the
that you-
South, if you go to like New Orleans, Florida, they were in Reebok
Yeah.
Classics. That's their
yeah,
that's their
that's
shoe.
their
Like,
thing. That's
I
the
was
thing.
in New Orleans. They had Jordans in the back of the damn store when I went to
Yeah.
Foot Locker. They had just New Balance or Reeboks. That's what they
Yeah.
had in the front. All the other stuff was in the back.
Yeah.
You want Jordans? Take your ass to the back because they're not. Because you're gonna think about it, it's hot out there. They're not trying to wear no like infrared sixes and
No,
90-degree
no.
weather. Like I wouldn't. My
Yeah.
feet would burn to death.
Yeah, they're only wearing that for the music video. That's it.
That part. That part.
when Wayne or one of the guys from Hot Boys is calling you in, Juvenile is
That's
calling
it.
you in for the video, then you can wear your
Beyond that,
that
you-
heat to kind of you stand out. But otherwise, you're rocking Reebok Classics.
No, that's fair. I agree
So
with you there.
I think the unique thing is what we're saying is currently right now that there is the sneaker market is so spread out,
It
but
is.
it is for if we're talking specifically Jordan, it is the purist that is now keeping the Jordan brand afloat,
Absolutely.
and that is what is the excitement. It's those that have been not in the game now have joined the game for a few years because one, they saw there was an opportunity to make money. Two, it was the cool thing to do. Three, influencers because people sat on their phones for 12 hours in being in a lockdown because we had more lockdowns than anyone else.
Exactly.
They just got influenced to do other things
Yeah.
that you saw that were happening globally that were not locked down, like whatever is happening in Florida,
also,
et cetera.
also a Last Dance documentary.
And that was the last thing that I was going to mention. The Last Dance documentary really brought a lot of,
Listen,
the nostalgia of the story of Jordan Brand. And again, that is what Nike's been so great at for so many years.
Stories.
Telling a story of why this shoe is important. And you said it, probably almost 45 minutes ago, thinking about why is the last shot important? Because that was the shot that won championship number 6.
Yeah.
Why is the black cement 4 important? Because that's the shot that went over Craig Elo that won Jordan's first playoff series. So it goes on and on and on why these shoes are of significance. And it's an older generation passing it to a younger generation. So, hey, there will be a time that this younger generation really gathers it because, whether it's the mother or the father has schooled that child, and
Yeah.
This is the lane that I need to play in. I probably will play in other lanes too, but this lane is a staple and a must.
Hmm.
So it will carry over to another thing where we have, all of these kind of fair weather sneakerheads.
Yeah.
That is, they will kind of come in and out where whatever the trend is. And
Hmm.
yes, they're sneakers, they're shoes that people wear for various different reasons, whether it's an athletic purpose or it's a fashion purpose or it's just to get to A to B.
Yeah.
But the sneaker purist that is keeping the Jordan brand alive, it is the scope is narrowing. So if Nike is going to continue to try and grow this, they're going to have to go back to some more of the storytelling. That's how this market share that
Yeah.
they've essentially given up, like the model that they had in terms of releasing all of these shoes and trying to do it direct to consumer, it didn't work. This is why they have a new president and they have so many different things.
Yeah.
So the world is different. In whether you're in Toronto like us, shout out to the Argos. I got my Argos hat
I
and,
see you. I see
hoodie
you at the
on
Argos.
because
Okay.
we got two great cups in the last 3 years for those
There you
that
go.
watch the CFL. But the world is changing with sneakers, and I think it's a good thing. I think just having more choice and not being pigeonholed into maybe a brand that you don't even want,
True.
or a shoe that you don't want. People
Yeah.
have choice. So people will buy Air Force, people will buy Air Max 90s because that's Toronto's shoe that now you know.
Now I
And then
know.
people will buy Jordans. People will buy a variety of different
Yeah.
things. So I think some of these other brands coming to their forefront is good for the sneaker game. But I think where the culture began, like why sneakers is a thing between Air Force and if you're in the West, it's Cortez, or we mentioned in
Yeah.
the South, it's the Reeboks. Those all have their own different origin story. Again, DC is
Exactly.
is all about the 990 New Balance. These have the origin story. So those that are passing this origin story from generation to generation, this will keep that part of the sneaker culture alive.
Yeah.
These fair weather people will disappear because they'll move on to the next trend,
Of
whether it's
course.
electronics or it's AI or it's
Hmm.
Bitcoin or whatever you want to call it. At some point, things will become full circle and
Yeah,
people
for
will come
sure.
back because it will be the trendy thing.
Because again, I think the misconception even people with sneakerheads is they think that sneakerheads are these like sneaker like I remember so I'll share it with you when I get the chance. Like there's pictures of like Jamie Lee Curtis wearing a pair of like fire red threes, like
Oh
Billy
yeah,
Crystal wearing red fours, Ron Howard the director wearing military blue fours, like Seinfeld is like
Seinfeld is one of the
massive
goat
gold
sneaker wearers that
sneakerheads.
we've ever had on TV.
Like I'll
Like
be
he
honest,
is side by side with Will Smith.
like part of the reason why I wanted to get the great fives is because of him and Chris Rock. They were like there was a picture of them wearing them in different pictures, and they look
Yeah,
so dope. So like that's the thing, and I think and I also think with Jordan, what made Jordan so dope is the fact again he balled out in Jordans, and they were dope on court, but then you could wear them off court. And I think what Nike's kind of struggled with a lot of the ball players is a lot of those shoes are strictly for basketball,
yeah.
like you look at the Morants, all the like they're dope colorways and stuff, but you're not wearing those off court, and that's what you got to get to. You got to get a shoe that you can wear off court, like even Pennies, like the Penny Hardaway line. As dope as those shoes were, like when Penny used to wear them, when you wore them off court, they look fly. And I think that's what like Nike has to get back to is that of making shoes that because like now all the basketball shoes look like Kobe's now.
Yeah.
If you put the Sabrina twos,
You literally took the words out of my
if
mouth
you
there.
look at listen, if you put the Sabrina twos, the new Devin Bookers, the new LeBrons, and all that to side by side, even the new Giannis's, they
New
all are shaped
Giannis.
the damn
Yeah.
same,
The
like
only
Kobe.
one that looks any remotely different is the KD 17. But
That
that's
part.
again a performance shoe. All
But
the
that
other
even
ones
looks
are
like one of
like
the. But
Kobe's
that,
stepchild.
yeah, but I feel like the KD 17 looks like an Air Max, like one of them.
Yeah.
Or I can't remember. I can't put the finger on it which one it looks like, but it looks like an old Air
It's
Max.
like 2009 Air Max.
Yes,
That's what
that
it
one.
looks like.
That's
So
a zero, literally designed to. So it's like and I think that's kind of where Nike's hurting and struggling a little bit is just that aspect, right? Like you got to get to, because that's again what the allure of Jordans were. Like, yeah,
yeah,
Jordan balled out, and I think remember Jordan saying in the Last Dance, like, yeah, the shoes look dope, but if I didn't ball out, people wouldn't have worn them, which is probably true. But
facts.
they were dope as hell off court. And
Yeah,
until Nike can get back to that aspect, I mean, you're just going
yeah.
to be relying on Jordan brand and Nike and Air Maxes maybe to sell your brand.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Nike is lacking from a level. I've said it before on the pod. It's a lack of innovation. Like,
Yes.
hey, they tried with the DN Max,
Thank
that
you.
didn't work.
Hmm.
That didn't take off like they thought. And then you can only, you continue to go back to the well of what is part of your DNA and your history.
Yeah.
But you can only do so many iterations and so many colorways that
I
is
know now they're
important. Like,
calling
geez,
everything a reimagine now, even though they're
exactly,
not a
right? So
reimagine.
those are some of the challenges right
Yeah.
now. And in that, like, we tie back to what we were talking with StockX. Like, the whole resale market right now is literally crumbling because there is no longer a demand for these upper echelon sneakers, when instead of buying that sneaker, I can buy seven of these shoes
Yeah.
in a retail store. Because again, like, we got to a point in 22 or maybe 23 that if I could buy it at retail, that was a flex. That was a
That was my
major,
flex. Yeah.
it's like, I didn't pay resale. Now, why am I paying resale? I bought
That part.
that. I got that on sale, or I got that at retail. Like, and that's where we are now, because there's now so much breadth in terms of how many different models you can get. You don't need to go retail unless you're buying Action Bronson, you know,
Yeah.
some type of, the 1906, which he's been rocking all year,
Yeah.
Rosewater, and
Hmm.
Medusa, and all of the other ones. If you're not you're going for that tier, or hey, you see the Jumpman Jack that just released
Yeah. Or
this
the like the
week,
dorm or like the
for
Dornbeckers, because I know the
yeah,
Dornbecker
like,
Jordans are
when
coming out.
unless
Like
it's
those.
that limited, it's
Yeah.
beyond tier zero, you have to sign up on sneakers. Everything else, if it's available retail, people don't care. Like, we will just buy something else that's available at retail because
Yeah.
there's choice. Like, if you look today, even, as probably this was the most demanded launch probably of the entire year, probably outside Reimagine and four, and that was all
Oh, the
messed up
threes?
because there was not enough air. These threes that just launched, but
Really?
there were so many pairs
There
that are
were.
out there. They're still out there,
They're still, yeah.
and
I saw.
that's totally okay
No, I think
for
listen, I
as
think
you
it's a good
start to
thing.
try and regain the marketplace. That's going to be, that's like now the go-to sneaker
Hmm.
for people buying a gift. I think in some respect it's going to impact the Legend Blue 11,
It will
because
probably.
people will just settle for this because they didn't think they would get this, and now it's so available. You'll
Yeah.
buy the Black Cement 3 because, again, it's got a great story,
Yeah.
and you might just not buy the Legend Blue 11. So
Yeah, because
it'll
again, I
be
think there was a
interesting how
period of
things
time
play
where
out.
people complained about not being able to, for example, like like maybe in 2018, you wouldn't have been able to get the Black Cement 3 probably like once it
No,
like it
absolutely
the
not.
first day it came out, it was
Sold out. It was rinsed the
completely
first
sold
day.
out, right? Whereas now, like they still, if I go on, I can guarantee I can go on Foot Locker app right now, and they probably have size 13 because they actually I checked 2 days ago and they still had a size 13,
Yeah.
and they still have like trickling out pairs, right? Because also with the Canada's post strike and all that, but still people can still get the pairs. And I think that's a good thing. I think part of the reason why I think a lot of people probably left the game was because the resellers kind of ruined the market when they were just buying up. And again, I'm not even talking about the people that line up because they now I don't feel like they make a significant dent. I think the people that have bots and are buying 100 pairs and then are charging $1,500 it just got they just ruined it because I remember the Nike Flyees when they came out. I think they were the shoe that you can just slide your foot in and out easily, and they were
Yep.
made for people with like disabilities and stuff, for people that have like arthritis who couldn't tie their shoes. Like I remember that shoe came out in 2020, and I remember I seen it on the app, and then like all of a sudden the shoe had sold out. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then I saw the price was $1,500. I'm like, why is this shoe $1,500? And I realized because resellers basically bought up a bunch of pairs and they were charging. And I remember seeing, it broke my heart because there was one dude that was crying because he has a disability and he literally was looking forward to buying the shoe. He can't spend $1,500 on the damn shoe, and that's where
Absolutely
the
not.
reselling to me got out of hand. And that's where I was just like, yo, screw all these people because you guys have basically ruined it because again, you guys are greedy. Because
Yeah.
this shoe is not made for you, bro. This shoe is made for people with disabilities. Like, what are you doing? Even the Dornbecker series. I love the concept and
Mhm.
idea of the Dornbecker series. I would love to
Yeah.
get a pair of Dornbeckers, but resellers have completely ruined it to where I would never even bother getting it because I'm not paying $800 for a Jordan. Like the I think the Dornbecker Jordan 3s came out last year,
Yeah.
And a guy on this at Bleach Report, I follow, me and him are cool. He bought a pair and they were like $800. I'm like, I love that shoe.
No,
I'm not
man.
paying $800 for that shoe.
No.
Love it though. Love the concept. Love the story behind it. The dude, like the kids who make it, like for the concept for people that don't know, like the Dornbecker shoe is made at the Dornbecker Hospital, and I don't remember what state. And so kids that are in the terminally ill ward get a chance to design a shoe, and then people get to vote on it, and then they actually make that shoe based off the
Yeah,
kids.
it's a pretty amazing
It's an
story.
amazing, beautiful story. And for an example of why I hate resellers, resellers ruin that shoe.
Yeah.
They ruined it, which is unfortunate because those proceeds aren't going to the Dornbecker Hospital.
Yeah.
Which
So
it should be.
Yeah, it's and I think I would qualify there's a difference between those that resell and do it hustle mode. Like they are on the
Yeah.
streets, they get in line, they
Yes.
get 10
They
people
camp
to
out.
sign up. They're
That part.
not leveraging technology. Then there's the ones that do minimal work, but extremely smart or resourceful. They have a bot, they win 50 pairs, and now they have 50 pairs sitting in their living room and are reselling those. That's where there's a difference
Yes.
in what the levels of reselling, and those
That
that
part.
have
Exactly.
have leveraged bots to buy up massive amounts of inventory to resell. That's the one that has really impacted the law of supply and demand,
Yeah.
and ultimately people that really needed the shoe, like we talked, the Easy On shoe really has taken people out of the realm of sneakers altogether. Like
Yeah.
it's a pain point versus something that should be celebrated.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, Mike. So as we wrap up,
Mm.
really appreciate your time,
No
and
problem.
I think some very good, healthy conversation about StockX and your collection, how you got into the game. So if people wanted to find you on social media, what channels what would be the IG
So
handle?
so let me get my IG. I want to make sure I'm saying it wrong. So mine is Kicks, Fitteds, and Travel. So if y'all want to find me, I'm on there. If you as long as y'all ain't weird or nothing like that, you can add me. If you get weird
All
or
right,
send me weird stuff, I'm not gonna follow you. But if you're cool, you can
right,
hit me up. We can chat it up, chop it up, anything like that. So I do have a YouTube page. I'm not really posting on often, but I'm gonna probably start posting stuff. My plan is once I finish my collection, I'm gonna start doing a top 10 countdown of my favorites and stuff.
okay,
But I have done some, but I realized I had to stop because I just keep adding on. Like I did a top 10 threes like last year,
yeah,
and I bought like 4 threes since then. And I'm gonna be
yeah,
buying more threes next year. So don't even I'm gonna wait till I get
right,
all my threes out of my system. And then I'll do a top 10. So you can
yes.
find me on there for now. So like on IG if you want to hit me up.
Dope. Maybe you should just do top 10 pickups or top five
Yeah, I think I'm gonna
pickups
have to do
for the
that for
year.
now. I'm gonna do
That
probably
that
yeah.
will definitely get you over and kind of be able to celebrate some of the good stuff that you were able to cop
Yeah, I
probably
usually do
at
that every
retail
year.
outlets.
I was doing that for a bit. I'm probably gonna do that now because
Okay.
I'm gonna wait till I get my Legend Blues. I gotta get the Legend Blues.
Okay. Okay. So
So once I get the
we'll be
Legend
looking
Blues,
forward to that.
yeah, for sure, man.
All right. So, anyways, thank you everyone for listening in. Great conversation with Mike today. Two Toronto men chopping it up. But
Absolutely.
that's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening. Sneaks Rhymes in Life. We are out. Bye for now.